So in the previous part, we were just talking about Shabbos and how significant is that gift for the Jewish people. And as I stated before, in Shabbos, the war stops for us, for the Jewish people. For the one who observe the Shabbos and actually take under very hard consideration the significance and the holiness of the Shabbos. And as we know, in Shabbos, especially if you live overseas, you can see that a Jewish man, observer, wears his best clothes. He goes wear his best shoes, and he just go out to the street. Everyone are working, everyone are still bang, 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 and with hammers and tractors and all of that. And the Jewish man just walk just on the sides of all of that, in the middle, and walks to shul. And that's a good example to see how actually the time that we were talking about before in the previous part of the introduction takes place within the time. That in that time in particular, time stops. And that's why it says that 6 days of creation doesn't say it's the seventh day, because Shabbos is still an unended thing, an unended concept, which will bring us eventually to the Yom Shikulu Shabbos, means eventually to a day, the old Shabbos, like time concept stops and takes out the time element, which limiting things. Now, first of all, I wanted to touch in that little detail in front of Shabbos, how important, how beautiful the concept of it. And it says, Zachor v'Shamor. Zachor means to remember. What does it mean to remember? When you walk the street and you reach a certain place in a market, as we know from our sages, you reach in a market and you see a very nice looking fruit. You see, this is a special fruit. I want that fruit for Shabbos. And you know that this fruit can be so nice to put in a Shabbos table. And you think of the Shabbos, even though it's Sunday, but you're actually thinking of Shabbos and it's Sunday. So you're living your whole life thinking and looking forward to Sunday. It's like if you're a little kid and your mother promised you a certain candy, and you go and you're just waiting and looking forward, they're going to finish school, I'm going to get some ice cream or something like that. It's really exciting. And that's the difference between Sason and Simcha. There are a few concepts that define happiness. The word happiness in English had a few different type of meanings in the Lashon HaKodesh in Hebrew. And two of them is Sason, and the second one is Simcha. There is Rina, Tirza, Chedva, B'chuva, but I'm going to touch on those in particular too. Simcha is when you actually arrive, when you arrive to your destination, and it's exactly the way you want it. And that's Simcha, and that's you feel happiness, you feel fulfillment. Sasan, on the other hand, Sasan, is a type of happiness that is still didn't arrive to your destination, but you're on the way to your destination. And being on the way to that destination, you're actually experiencing a concept of putting yourself inside a position that you see that you reach that destination just a little bit more, and you make the little effort to get there, but you know that when you get there, that will be very fulfilling, like the second time. As we know, one way to define Sason is from the Hebrew names of the numbers, basically. When a person's very hungry, is Sas le'echol, means he really desires to eat. And then the next number up is 7. After the person already ate, that he's Sabea. Sabea, Lashon, 7. And then when he eats very, very big amount of food, and he eats so much, and he becomes a shaman, like fattening. And shaman, Lashon, Shmone. And then comes number Teisha. Teisha is the concept of Shashua. Shashua, it says in Medrash that Hashem is Mishtasha im Nishmotam shel tzaddikim began Eden. Means Hashem is playing, so to speak, with the souls of the sages in heaven, with righteous people, the souls of righteous people in heaven. And that's very funny because after you cover those levels, you reach the level of Teisha, of Shashua, and then level of 10, which is Esa, that's the Esa spirit. We will get into it probably in a different occasion. But let's go back to the preparation for Shabbos. The Shabbos is so important that Chazal tells us that it's so important that it actually stands as opposed to all the mitzvahs together. It also says the same thing about the tzitzis. The remembrance of all the mitzvahs is going into the tzitzis. And that's the garments we wear. And we talked about the concept of Zohar, means to remember the Shabbos. And each day to remember, wow, I want that particular nice thing for my Shabbos table. And then you live as for Kedusha, you live within holiness. And you just experience the goodness of Hashem everywhere you go. You know, some people will tell you, oh, you must not do this, and you must not do this, and if you do this, it's so terrible. There's people that are actually talking to themselves. They're trying to tell themselves that those things are very bad to do, but they're using you guys to basically to be the vessel to transfer themselves as a reflection of themselves. But the true thing is, all a person needs to discover is his love from Hashem. The love for Hashem brings to do any in particular mitzvah. And when a person is passionate, and it says, Ein Shechina Shora, Ela Mesimcha Shel Mitzvah, means the Shechina, the Hashem dwelling, like the divine presence, doesn't dwell unless there is a happiness of a good deed. And this passion and desire to have Hashem and to actually be close with the closeness, as we spoke before about the spiritual distance, means matching the shape and the will system. To be able, as it says, Hu rachum afatah yerachum, means he's merciful, you should be merciful. As more as you're similar to someone, as more as you close to them, basically, as from the example we spoke before. So another thing like will come up from that is if we want to be close to Hashem, we need to assimilate Him. Like our definition of our name, Adam, Leshon, Domeh, similar, to assimilate Hashem. Hashem's action, to assimilate everything, how He treats His creatures. And to do that, there are a few keys. The Halacha teaches us, and the sages teaching us all this beauty and all this wisdom. And basically, I will touch a few individual subjects, and we'll go into that further down in our shiurim, bit in the future. So basically, to get into a level that a person has closeness with Hashem, and then he experiences everything he goes, wherever he goes, he just feels an unlimited amount of love. And that's the love you should feel. The love for HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the love that brings simcha. There is nothing like to love someone, and then it will be a greatest simcha of them all, the greatest happiness of them all. As we say, Sasson also makes you happy, but then you're on the level of reaching that happiness. So that's also going to get you an amazing amount of happiness, even just to approaching that path. So just to discover inside the heart the little point that points out the love for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And from that love, everything comes. Everything with passion, everything with love and with positivity. And will push you to do things that you wouldn't even imagine that you were able to do before. And about that, I'm going to stop now, and I'm going to speak about that in the next part. So in the next part, I'm going to proceed from this point. So